Hi, my name is Vanessa Alvarez, and we're live here from SysCon TV at the 14th International Cloud Computing Expo in New York City. We are here today to talk about the Internet of Things and how cloud plays into that, and ultimately what it means for enterprises today. As we know, Internet of Things is a big component of big data and analytics, and enterprises today are really forced to understand what they need to do in order to remain competitive. Please feel free to introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name's Chris Gray. I'm from Red Hat, and I'm the Director of Embedded and Intelligent Systems. So I work with all of our customers that are building Internet of Things types architectures, and anyone that would be integrating our technologies into those architectures.
Fantastic. So Internet of Things Expo is an emerging category for us this year. We're very excited that it actually gained a lot of traction. What it tells us is that enterprises are really interested in figuring out what this means for them and what they should be doing. Ultimately, what cloud did in the first phase of cloud computing was help enterprises understand that they needed to change architectures. What does Internet of Things and big data tell enterprises now in terms of what they need to do to create more efficient architectures?
Sure. So I think, to your point, the Internet of Things is really just kind of the next wave of cloud, right? It's as these distributed devices become more prolific, they can really start to gain a lot greater insight and gain much more data, gather more data from the environment, which ultimately allows customers and businesses to make better business decisions and make those faster. What we're finding, though, is that especially as companies and enterprises start to really embrace the Internet of Things, the traditional kind of consumer-based devices that we've seen in the past, where your iPhone or smartphone may connect directly to the cloud or a cloud service, that really doesn't make sense for a business. In a business, you're more worried about things like transmission costs, latency of data, right? You can't, if you're building out a smart grid application as an example, you can't have that under voltage protection signal go all the way back to your data center to get processed for you to then find out 5 minutes later that you needed to shut down that portion of the grid to protect the rest of this ecosystem. So what we're actually finding is that there's really kind of a third tier that's emerging between these smart devices, these sensors, and the data center or the cloud. And this tier of aggregators or controllers are really taking and conducting a lot more business analysis and real-time data analysis and taking actions based upon that data. So it's that kind of third tier of the architecture that is really the biggest change that we're seeing as the Internet of Things kind of makes its way out into the enterprise.
Fantastic. And I think this is such an important point for enterprises today to really understand that they need to start figuring out sort of this third layer of their architecture. How does the enterprise start to embrace the open source technologies that Red Hat is famously known for and promoting, and how can they really start to simplify that within their architectures?
Sure, great question. So one of the things that we found is that as the Internet of Things really becomes more prolific, open source is just playing a tremendous part in that expansion. And the reasons for it are simple, right? That level of transparency, that level of really interoperability that's required to connect all of the disparate devices that exist in this Internet of Things is immense. So to have multiple proprietary protocols and standards just doesn't work. So being built on open standards is really becoming almost a prerequisite to play within the Internet of Things, and that open methodology is where Red Hat has always flourished, right? We've always lived there. We've always been a 100% open source company and embraced that type of concept, right? Those ideals. That's really allowed us to help customers and enterprises find their way along this path and provide them with solutions that are open, but that are also enterprise ready, secure, and reliable, which are ultimately incredibly important within the Internet of Things. Because if you can't take advantage of the data that's being produced by these devices, then that investment really can't pay any of the dividends or provide the benefits that are required.
And ultimately, any kind of technology shift, enterprises really have to be able to get the ROI on these technology changes and any kind of change within their architecture and infrastructure overall. Fantastic. So thank you, Chris. Thank you for joining us. We are here live from New York City, the 14th Annual Cloud Computing Expo. Feel free to reach out to us at Cloud Computing Expo on Twitter and Syscon TV on YouTube.